Hey everybody, welcome to Sound Bombing. I created this show for people who want to experience a radical, life-changing journey through the sounds of my diverse guests. I hope that each sound you hear on this show will strengthen your faith, encourage your dreams, and challenge you to awaken the greatness within you.
Drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We're gonna drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We're gonna drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We come to drop the bomb. Drop the bomb.
This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new values, and a new experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, the star of the show,
LaMarr Darnell Shields.
Every year, millions of couples take on the challenge of starting a business together. For some, it's the best decision they ever made. Not only do they get to spend more time together, they get to pursue their passion side by side with their best friend. Unfortunately, not every couple has this experience. Working together can be stressful, and that stress can translate into trouble for the relationship or the business or both. In addition, there's an old cliche that you're not supposed to mix business and pleasure, but the co-founders of CurlMix, who are also married, prove that's just BS. So what's the difference between the couples that make it and the couples that break up? Why do some succeed while others do not? You'll find out today. Joining me in the studio is Kim and Tim Lewis, the co-founders of CurlMix, a clean beauty brand for curly hair. Together, they pioneered the use of organic flaxseed gel for hair care and created a 4-step system to create the best wash and go style ever. What they've done in a seemingly saturated space is unheard of and a story unlike any other. In just a year, they pivoted their business and bootstrapped their revenue from zero to over $1 million, something they accomplished just 1 month after giving birth to their first child. In March of 2019, they appeared on the 10th season of one of my favorite shows, Shark Tank, where they turned down, did you hear me? They turned down a deal from Robert Herjavec, who offered $400,000 for 20% of their company. Simply put, they walked away because they knew their worth. Let's take a listen to their pitch on Shark Tank.
Well, when we came up with our valuation, we took last month's sales and we multiplied it by 12. Like if we didn't grow at all, we would make 115 for the next 12 months.
Kim?
So we actually ended up with a 6.9 million valuation, but we brought it down to 4 million.
We really want the
hey, I can work a spreadsheet too.
We'll need a lot of money, so we would probably have to raise again.
Yes, which is why I need 20% today.
And you're getting a shark.
$400,000 for 20%. I'm not going to change that.
What are you going to do?
Sorry, Robert.
Oh!
Can't take that.
We cannot take that.
I respect that.
Good for you.
I have to say,
I didn't see that coming.
I'm out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, guys.
appreciate it.
All the offers. Thank you.
confidence.
You guys
Sticking to
are
your
amazing. Wow, how about that?
I can't believe I didn't take it.
I can't believe that either.
All right, so you know I got to start off with this first question. My listeners want to know, when I posted on social media that I was going to be interviewing you, they said, please start out with this first question. So I'm going to go there. Okay. The world was shocked when you received an offer from Shark Tank. It's Robert, but turned it down. What went through your mind in the moment of making that decision?
We talked, so the night before, there's a lot of stuff you don't see that goes down when it comes to the show. And the day before, you kind of do like a pre-pitch to the judges, not the judges, but the producers. And after that experience, we were like, we need to have our hard walk away numbers, things we just will not accept, you know. And so we'll negotiate between this and this, but we won't negotiate over this. And for us, it was more than 15% of our companies. And so when Robert kind of refused to negotiate beyond the 10%, or, you know, beyond the 15%, then, or under 15%, I'm sorry, then we just knew that this wasn't going to work for us.
So when you walked away from that and you showed up back in the city that we both are from, Chicago, and the people, you know, you made phone calls, you got off the plane, social media, what was some of the response from some of the people that were close to you? Like, give me some, what did they say?
Well, it's a funny story. You actually shoot the show well before it airs. So it was about 6 months in between the time we shot to the time we found out we were going to air. And we actually couldn't tell anyone. So we had to keep that secret for nearly 6 months. And it was just kind of eating at us. We had so many people asking, how did it go? What did you do? We were like, you know what? You just got to watch the show. You just got to watch the show. But, you know, but we knew that we thought we did very well. And we realized, you know, of course, we understood what our value was. So we were very happy with the result. Because our ultimate goal was to speak to America, to have them learn about CurlMix and then, you know, hopefully grow the business from that stage. So we would have loved to have sharks on our team, but not at that price, right? And then on top of that, in that 6 months between the show recording and the show airing, we 10x'd our business. So it was just, you know, it was a completely different kind of business from when the show aired. And so I feel like the Sharks really missed out. They could have been making money already before the show even aired.
Some people thought we made a bad decision, but they also don't really know valuation and numbers. And so whenever I break it down to people and say, you know, we were making X amount of dollars at this time and this X amount of dollars before the show aired, and, you know, we would have given up, you know, in the future, basically $20 million of our company if we plan to get acquired for $100 million. Then they're like, oh, okay, I get it. But, you know, when they don't know those numbers, they have no clue. So some people were actually upset, like in the comments on Facebook posts and stuff, like, they're stupid, they don't know what they're doing. Like, we got all kinds of hate too.
You get
mostly positive.
You get that's so. So which one of your cousins? Who was the hater? Don't mention their name. I'm sure there was one of their cousins hanging off to the side when you came back for the barbecue. Man, I can't believe Tim and Kim decided to do that at the 4th of July, because I know how our people can be sometimes. I watched the show and I knew that something amazing was going to happen. I am a fan, but let me back up, because you guys talked about keeping a secret. Now, out of the two of you all, be honest, Kim or Tim, which one of you all, it was harder to keep that secret?
Whatever. I already know how this going to go.
Come on, Tim. Was it hard for your wife to keep the secret?
I'm not even, you know what? She did a great job. Like, we know that there are a couple people, you know, you absolutely cannot tell, right? You can't tell mom and dad. They don't tell everybody they know, right? As soon as you tell your parents, it's like you just told everybody in the family. Well, so we have to keep it away from them. But, you know, we definitely have to, like, tell our investors. So it was, it was actually really good. We did all right. I can't throw on the bus completely.
Well, I felt proud. About what you guys did. Before we jump into the business, let's talk about the two of you all, Tim and Kim. I love the names. Let's talk about, how did you guys meet?
So, I met Kim freshman year of high school, second period gym class, on the first day. We sat in the same row because our last names are pretty close to each other. And I just thought she was too cute. She came in smiling.
She's smiling right now.
And I had the biggest crush on her, yep. But it turns out that freshman year, she was dating one of my friends on the football team at the time. You have to stop telling this
story. No, keep telling the story.
Didn't even talk to her.
So she was dating one of your boys.
I walked to her locker one day. I'll tell it. We walked to her locker one day. We were chit-chatting. And then, you know, she was like, oh, yeah, you want to come walk with me? I was like, oh, yeah, cool. And then she was like, we walked to her boyfriend's locker, and she introduced me. And I was just too through.
Tim, I love it, man. I see, Tim, you are a shark already. Tim was like, yeah, she was dating my boy, but I still walked up to the locker, let him know you were already prepared for business.
And then it took another couple years, a year or two after they had broken up is when we actually finally got together. I think it was the last semester of our junior year in high school.
Where'd you guys go to high school?
Morgan Park High School.
We used to love the Morgan Park Kenwood games. That's a whole nother conversation. So I love to hear. I went to De La Salle and Leo, man. I was on a high school tour. We ain't got time to talk about that. But I just know when Kenwood and Morgan Park played together, or Morgan Park and Julian, you know what time that was. So I heard his side of the story. I heard Tim's side of the story. Kim, let me hear you. Is he accurate in what he's saying?
I mean, I wouldn't consider that like the story. That's not the story I would tell. Because I never even realized that was a thing, right? So I would say Timothy and I didn't start dating until junior year in high school. And the only reason I think that happened is because our names rhyme. So I used to see Timothy every division. Like I would come down the stairs from my division and he would be coming upstairs and he'd be like, hey, Kim. And I'd be like, hey, Tim. And I just thought it was just, a coincidence. But I didn't know that Timothy was rushing from his division and would wait for me to come down the stairs so that he could meet me as I was coming down and he was going up to say hi. And so I thought that was the cutest thing when I found out later, but I just thought it was a coincidence at the time. And that's how we started talking. I would not tell you that story about my ex-boyfriend. My goodness.
Man, you all have me over here blushing. I know the listeners, when they are going to be blushing because, again, many of us are familiar with your products, but a lot of people don't know the backstory of the individuals that sort of created this. And the fact that you guys went to high school, your high school sweethearts, you're such a great reflection of what entrepreneurship can be, but there are also some challenges that comes along with sort of entrepreneurship. So let's get down to the business piece. Let's talk about the product. Why was it created? Where did the concept come from? And I saw your hair. Kim, it's amazing. I love the natural hair. So let's talk about the product.
Yeah, Kim she's the hair of the brand, as we say. Hair is too fly.
Always, I see.
But no, CurlMix has something of a Cinderella story. Because when we started as like a do-it-yourself box for curly hair, and we were kind of struggling to figure out what our customers wanted. Because at the time, we were making things that we thought the industry needed. We were creating products that were really transparent, that were easy for people to make, and we found out later that just wasn't, ideal for the average consumer. Like, they didn't have the time to make their own products. But we did find that our current customers were buying the same boxes over and over and over. And so what we did was we turned those products into our best sellers, our line. So we have a line as a 4-step wash and go system for curly hair, but the flagship product in that line is our flaxseed gel. The flaxseed gel was the very first product we made, and it almost didn't happen because it was so difficult to bring to market. So you know how a lot of brands will go to manufacturers and have them make products for them. We were like, well, maybe somebody will make this flaxseed gel for us. And we were literally turned down by about 3 or 4 manufacturers. And so, we had given up on the idea. And then my advisor was just like, well, you need to figure it out. You don't stop selling your best-selling product. And so I literally spent about a month in the kitchen. I was 7 months pregnant. This was like 2017 at the time, October 2017. I made 50 different batches of flaxseed gel, and so I came up with something that was like stable and that we could scale. And we launched it to our audience and sold hundreds in a matter of hours. And we had never launched anything that successfully before. And when we did that, we knew like this is what our customers really wanted. And so just after our baby was born, he was about he was a month old, and we pivoted our entire business at the top of 2018 last year.
Where were you making the product, Kim? You were making it in the kitchen?
Yes. So at the time, we could only make it in stock pots because that was the largest size you could make flaxseed gel in. And then we eventually found a machine that would help us make thousands in a batch. So for the first, 6 months or so, we were just in our kitchen. I would like breastfeed, and I put the baby down, go downstairs, and I would start making the gel. And then where we launched it, we did pre-orders first because we had failed enough time to know that you don't make something before people actually want it. You sell it first, and then you provide it. So
It's
I
interesting.
would make it in my kitchen.
It's interesting to talk about. So I'm a vegan, and flaxseed. I put it in my smoothies. You know, it contains fiber, fat, protein, and various minerals and vitamins. But I would have never thought to put that in the gel. Where did that idea come from of creating a flaxseed type of gel when typically people eat this?
Yeah, so flaxseed gel has been really popular in the DIY hair community for years. If you search on YouTube, there's thousands of videos of people, boiling flaxseed to extract the gel from the seed coating. And so they have been using it in their homes. It's a really thick, lightweight gel that, is all natural. It's basically just water and flax seeds, and you can get it in the organic variety as well. But it creates a really unique kind of style in that you can get a nice hold without, using some gunky, fake kind of gel that you normally see in those big tubs at the dollar store.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people were kind of against that kind of, against those kind of products. And so when we saw that there was kind of already a demand for this, we thought about it from the standpoint of any entrepreneur. What's kind of the problem here? We see there's demand, but is it actually solving a problem? And the simple fact is that flaxseed gel is really difficult to make and even more difficult to preserve. So when Kim developed the system around, creating it at scale, and preserving it and doing more with the process that she created, we realized that we can actually make a business out of this. On top of the fact that, we could continually expand with that same kind of mentality. What are people's problems in the beauty space? What are people not doing that we can, take advantage of? And then we go from there. So that's kind of how we grow our business nowadays.
And see, Kim, now I know why you like Tim. I loved his story. Tim is real sharp. And I see why you attracted to that brother. He real sharp, brother. And I appreciate that. Tim, I'm going with your story, man. I like that story. I like that story. We're gonna stick with your story. So how did you go from this?
I always say, they're both true, but mine is more fun.
I like that, man. So speaking of fun, how did you go from, because I'm sure it was fun in the beginning, to create this product in the kitchen, to hear that you nursing, and it's so interesting to hear that you talked about I was still nursing my child when women typically say, well, I decide to go a different route. And it's no judgment of who they are, but you decide to do that. So you were nursing your child, raising a baby, making the product inside the kitchen. How did you go from taking it from a kitchen to then manufacturing? What was that process like? And could you walk us through that?
So have you heard of Backstage Capital before?
Yes.
So Backstage Capital wrote us our first check in March of 2018. It was for $25,000. At the time, that I just couldn't believe I had that amount of money in my bank account. Like, we had finally got to deal with them. And when they wrote us the check, we used that money to move into a manufacturing facility. And so the manufacturing facility is an incubator here in Chicago where small businesses that maybe do $100,000 a year or, 15, 20 million a year, they have their own, incubator space. And so we used that money to buy our machine that was going to help us make maybe 2,000 or 3,000 units in a batch. And then we used the rest of it for like our down payment on the actual building or, our unit. And we did that in, I want to say May is when we moved. Yeah, May is when we moved. And Tim officially quit his job in March to come and work for the business. And so he was now making the product at this time. So I started making them for the first three or 4 months in 2018. And then Timothy did it for the next, I want to say 3 to 4 months. And then we hired somebody else to do it for us. But for the first 6 months of last year, we were making flaxseed gel.
Yes, we became. So we worked in literally every single job in the company.
Yes. I love that.
Except.
So Tim, walk me through your process. You stepped out on faith and you decided you were going to walk away from the company that you were working for. Walk us through that process. What was going through your mind at the time? And then was there any moment where you just felt like, man, I should go back there?
I'm going to kind of start from the beginning with this one. But so early in our relationship, after, we went through high school together, college together, and then we got married right after we graduated in 2013. And we both kind of had like these jobs coming out of college, but Kim was just not cut out for corporate. Like, she knew she wanted to be an entrepreneur. Her corporate job was just too soul sucking. So we decided, like, around 6 months after we were married that, you know, she just would not do it again. And we started a business way back in 2013 called the Natural Hair Academy. We kind of just consider that our MBA because we learned so much about how to do business by doing business the wrong way. That we were able to flip that into CurlMix. And that's why I've been able to be so successful. But that entire time, from 2013 to 2018, I was working full time. And so Kim was able to kind of have that flexibility to work on her dreams, work on her ideas, and develop the business. And then I would assist or advise as necessary. And then in March of 2018, we basically went from $3,000 monthly revenue in January to $30,000 in monthly revenue in March. And she just could not keep up by herself. She was like, you know what, if this thing's gonna work, like, I need you, to put more time into it. And so I think I was working as an IT professional. I was making almost $250,000 a year on my good years. And so it was a step out on faith, but I definitely trust my wife, and that's kind of our secret sauce, is that I know what she's capable of, and I completely trust her. And so joining CurlMix.
But he was definitely like, you got 3 months. If you don't got back in 3 months, I'm going back.
See, I like y'all transparency. She was waiting. You know, Tim, she was like that little girl about to outside jumping double dutch, waiting for her turn to get in. It was going great. You were going great. She said, but I like that. And again, I love the transparency because, again, people think that this is easy. They think that, you get some money for a venture capitalist. You guys got yours from backstage, and you go out there, you open up an office, you put your name on the door, and you think people are going to come, even though you have a great product. And I love the fact that I heard you say this thing, trust. You said, I trust the process. I just spoke at a church on Saturday about the word confidence, and the word FID, the root of the word confidence, FID, means to trust. So you have confidence in yourself. You guys had confidence for one another, but it was also that trust. And yeah, there could be that little hesitation because the world that we come from, we go to these schools, these colleges, and wherever we attend, and they're teaching us to work for someone else. And so then we do backslide and say, well, maybe I can go back and do that. And so that's okay that you felt like turning around. I remember stepping out on faith when I was leaving the classroom, and I was like, my students were the ones that said, Mr. Shields, the world is so much bigger. Your message needs to leave these doors. And it was time for me to leave. They gave me the confirmation, even when I didn't feel like I deserved it. And so again, that's okay. People need to hear that. People need to hear those real hard stories. That's why I mentioned the fact you mentioned it. I was nursing. I was doing this. Yeah, I was working this job, making all this money, but then, it wasn't mine. This is about it. And it's a real deal. It really is.
Oh yeah. Bill got to get paid. We just bought a house. We just had a baby. We're not sending me no starving entrepreneurs. That's not happening.
It is not happening. So let's talk about, some of the challenges. Because again, you guys are doing well, but let's talk about some of the challenges, and as much as you want to share about working with your significant other. And then we'll get into the challenges of running the business.
In the beginning, we did not work well together.
At first, yeah.
It took some time.
Mainly because I was doing everything before, right? So I was doing all the marketing. I was making all the products. I was shipping everything out. And so when it came time to hire Tim, he was like our third hire, really, because my second hire was my assistant. She was working in customer service at the time. But Timothy, I was trying to teach him how everything that I did so he could replace me on the production side, because I was the one who knew marketing. And, he's the cook in our house, right? So he would be like, oh, well, we should do it like this. And I was like, no, that's not how the gel is made. You have to make it like this. I've made it a lot more than you. You should listen.
Now, Tim, did she say it that nice? Was she that nice saying it? Don't answer.
Most definitely. the sweetest.
All right, keep going, Kim.
Exactly how it came out.
Keep going.
A little revisionist history.
Anyway. No, so we would go back. So I was like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to leave it out like this, or you're not supposed to, we'd be like, fight about that. And then once we kind of got the hang of it, we were in a groove there. We found out we were going to be on a Shark Tank. And I think that was the biggest stressor ever. On top of, us growing the business and then being a married couple, then being young with a kid. My baby's like 5 months at this time. And like just trying to make all this work, finding out you're going to be on Shark Tank is like a second job. So as if we already didn't have enough going on. I mean, we were basically working 3 jobs: CurlMix, parents, and preparing for Shark Tank. And so I think we fought more than we've ever fought. Worked like then, because basically we were practicing every day for the show. Like you just see us pitching a shark for like 15 minutes, but what you don't know is that we spent 4 months preparing for that 15 minutes that you see on TV.
And what is that preparation like? And what do you do during that preparation?
You meet with the assistant producers every week leading up to the show, and you probably rewrite your pitch maybe 7 or 8 times. And then you practice it, you record it in video, and then they don't help you with the questions, right? So you have to prepare for the questions on your own. So we basically binge watched a bunch of Shark Tank, wrote down every question each of the sharks asked for maybe 2 or 3 hours that we go back to back or whatever, and then came up with 50 questions they could potentially ask us, and then wrote down answers and 3 talking points on the back, and then we would give feedback as if we were judges. So so we wouldn't be startled if somebody called us a cockroach on TV. We would say,
yeah, I had a great time playing Kevin.
Oh, so you guys took on roles?
Oh yeah, we just drilled and drilled like it was finals week. It was a very serious process.
And if maybe we were drilling on the way home from work, and one of us wasn't taking it seriously, or like let's say Timothy wouldn't get, he's like, oh Kim. I would kind of get really upset. And I was like, you want to go in front of America and look like an idiot? I don't. I was like, we're going to work on this. It was just very stressful. It was very stressful.
Wow. So jumping back to the genesis of CurlMix as a do-it-yourself subscription box, that concept was innovative and pioneering for a hair brand. How did you come up with the idea to make it DIY?
So the funny thing is, we actually got the inspiration for the idea came from an episode of Shark Tank. We were in Atlanta at the time, and we just decided to shut down our first business. And Kim was kind of stuck in a rut, and she was looking for another project. She was kind of in that space that a lot of entrepreneurs go to. It was like, my company is failing. Should I just go back to work? Everything is so hard. And I was like, no, absolutely not. It's like, whatever we do next, we're going to figure out how to make money on day one. Whatever time you need, take it, but you can't go back to work. That you just don't fit, right? And so it was maybe a month or two where, she was trying out different ideas, and we were sitting there, watching Shark Tank, and we saw this was a cookie company.
Yeah. She was making some organic cookies. So basically, she would prepackage everything so you wouldn't have to go to the store and spend a ton of money, but you would know that what was actually in the cookies, and you wouldn't have a mess when you cleaned it up. So it was almost like organic Betty Crocker.
Yeah, I saw that episode. I saw that.
Oh, perfect. So then we saw that, and I was like, if anyone does this for hair, because I go to Whole Foods and spend about $300 or $400 to make hair products, I would love if somebody could send me this stuff, and it was already a tested recipe. I knew it would work. And so I was like, well, maybe this idea is dumb because it's not out there. This is 2015. I feel like every subscription box known to man was out there back then. And somebody was like, no, Kim, you should give it a shot. Like, maybe no one's done it because they don't feel like they have the expertise. And so that's how we kind of got started. And we learned and we launched the business. And at first I launched one box and sold it to my cousin. And
we literally sold one box.
And then I was like, see, Tim, I thought this is stupid. And he's like, no, Kim, if Airbnb can relaunch twice, surely if Airbnb can relaunch 7 times, surely CurlMix can relaunch twice. And so then we relaunched in September 1st of 2015, and we ended up selling 100 boxes on the first day. Wow. So I was like, oh, wow, okay, great launches are engineered. They don't just happen.
So what would you say has been the biggest lesson you've learned in the journey and experience of entrepreneurship?
Ooh, that's a heavy one. The biggest lesson? I think the biggest lesson for me, and it might be different for Kim, is that there's really, when it comes to entrepreneurship, there's really only one thing. It's like your responsibility as an entrepreneur is to solve problems. Whether that's problems for your customers, whether that's problems in your business, whether that's problems in the world, if you have a greater impact. You know, the essence of an entrepreneur is a problem solver. And that's all that we really do on a daily basis. But whenever we're faced with a new challenge in our business, whenever things aren't going well, you know, those are just problems that need to be solved. And with that kind of mindset, we're able to, you know, continue pushing through things that might be challenging or difficult, where you might be questioning your abilities about doing something, being able to do something, or, you know, can I take advantage of this? You know, will this work out? If you have the idea that I'm just solving problems and this is just one in a series of problems that I'm going to solve in my life, you know, it makes it a whole lot easier for me. That's been my biggest lesson. How about you?
My biggest lesson has been to really consciously and purposely work to enjoy the stage that you're in. Because, you know, I've been in a stage where we barely made $3,000 in an entire month. And, you know, I've also been in a stage where we made $900,000 in a month. And now I'm in a stage where, like, we make over $500,000 a month, but I'm not satisfied with that. And so, and it's almost crazy to say that, thinking that, you know, to know how far we've come so quickly, but you forget how fast your brain adjusts, you know, how your new normal adjusts. And you're like, no, these should be our metrics, these should be our numbers, we should be hitting X, Y, and Z goals. And, you know, 24 months ago, I would have been jumping for joy, you know, if this was like our numbers. So I just think I don't ever want to sound ungrateful. It's just a matter of, like, you know, people who run billion-dollar companies, you know, they would not want to make $50 million in a month. You know, they want to make 100 or whatever their new standards are. So I really enjoy every stage of the growth process. Would be like my biggest lesson.
Kim, where does that drive come from?
I think it came from growing up in the hood with, like, nothing, basically. To be honest. Me and Tim, we talked about this all the time. Like, when we met, I think he said his lights were off.
Oh, no, I didn't have heat.
Oh,
yeah. You were,
well, I'm sure he didn't tell you that walking to your locker. That was probably like the second or third date. I'm sure he didn't open up by saying, "Yeah, baby, my lights are off. Could you come on over?" You
know, it was funny. I didn't. On the first date we went on, I had Kim pick me up down the street because I was embarrassed for her to, like, come into my house where we didn't have, like, you know, heat in the house.
And I didn't pick you up. We took the bus.
Right. Oh yeah. We took the bus to the train. And that was like our first date.
Right. And then for me, I mean, I grew up with my mom and, like, 4 other siblings, and we lived in my grandparents' house. There's holes in the floor upstairs. Like, we had love and we had family and we had a place to stay, but it was just like, it's nothing like how we live now. And I think those circumstances help to create the kind of drive that we have to basically let us know that anything we think is possible and we can do it. It doesn't matter, you know, where we came from.
So one of the interesting things about that is that, at least initially, CurlMix was really, really centered around us and our story, and how we kind of overcame to produce the company that we've been able to produce. And so it's really kind of instilled in us a certain value set that we bring into the company. So the way that we run our company is inspired by the way that we grew up. We're very, like, family focused. A lot of our employees end up being family. You know, we have an environment that's very comfortable to work in, that's extremely flexible. We pay our people extremely well. And, you know, we kind of have the idea that if we are going to make it, everybody else is going to make it with us. And so, and that kind of comes from growing up in a really close-knit family community where you may not have had a lot, but, you know, if you have everybody puts everything together, you know, we can do great things. And that's kind of how it kind of integrates into the company from my perspective.
So what's the impact that you guys want to have on the world?
We want to build a billion-dollar company. we don't know people who look like us that have done it, and we want to be the first, or some of the first.
And who are some of your inspirations when you talk about building $1 billion company? And there's some people that are some living examples of where you want to be.
Janice Bryant Howard. We always say her last name funny. Of course, Oprah Winfrey. I mean, can't forget Mama O.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, is anything? Oh, Thanks. Yes, Sarah Blakely. I love her. Follow her all the time. She built Thanks, $1 billion brand. Yeah, those are some of our main inspirations.
The thing that probably we get the most satisfaction from in growing our business is not, the sales numbers. It's not, the success or the publicity. We really appreciate that we've been able to create jobs and grow a team of almost 25 people now. That, they're not just, they're 25 people. They're 25 families, that depend on us in order, for them to feed their children, for us to be successful. And so that's just been the most rewarding part of all of this, is building out our team and supporting our community. And that's really what keeps us going right now. It's like our dreams were great for when they were just for us, but now that there are other people's dreams involved, it makes it that much more special and important for us to be successful.
One of our employees, nobody in our company that's an employee makes less than $17 an hour. And it was basically double minimum wage. And he came to us and was like, I was able to buy my girlfriend a ring and propose to her because basically I'm making more than I ever have now. And I don't know, that meant so much to us. It was very touching. So I think that's probably the biggest, most important thing that we've done in this whole process, is create more jobs, people who look like us.
Tell me about your background, and how did your background prepare you to run this multi-million-dollar company?
Well, I went to business school for basically business administration, studying marketing and supply chain management. So supply chain management is basically logistics. So my first few jobs were with Diageo, that makes Smirnoff and Bullet Bourbon, I'm sorry. And so just learning all the logistics from those kind of businesses, or all of these district manager in training.
General Mills,
yep. So I have a production background essentially. And then I studied marketing in school. But studying marketing in school is not the same thing as becoming an entrepreneur in today's day and age, because you really have to teach yourself all the marketing tactics that are out there.
And it's like you said earlier, when you're in school, they really just teach you how to be a great employee. So much of our entrepreneurship knowledge came from, learning by doing, or learning as we went.
Or reading books and things like that. But Timothy, on the other hand,
my background didn't prepare me to be an entrepreneur at all.
That's not true.
Oh, I'm kind of nervous to know what that is.
My goal was I was gonna go get my PhD and be a researcher in behavioral economics, and I was gonna stay in lectures and labs and for the rest of my life. That was my initial plan, and I was cool with it. But
I wanted to get paid to read.
Yeah, that was what I said. So I do not have the entrepreneur gene. I'm going to be upfront and honest. So Kim is a natural entrepreneur. But what I did bring to the table is, I brought, of course, my research background. If there is anything that we need to solve problems, I'll figure it out. I'll find it out. I'll get the answer, and I'll have sources to back it up. And then on top of that, it's also I studied behavioral economics, which is basically the science of how people make decisions, or, how they self-regulate. And so that gives me an understanding, in marketing that I probably wouldn't have had, had I just gotten into entrepreneurship. So whenever we're coming up with strategies or marketing, Kim knows that she can trust my opinion on how people will respond to them. Because of that background.
And Tim also didn't mention that he was captain of the academic decathlon in high school. He got a perfect score in reading on the ACT. So he had a 36 in reading, an overall score of a 30. He was the one who wants to be a millionaire, $100,000 when he was 21. So he's also just very smart. And I think that can be very useful in deciding to be an entrepreneur.
What is something that you learned about one another since starting this business? Like, what have you learned about Tim that you did not know? And Tim, what did you learn about Kim that you didn't know?
Since becoming an entrepreneur, I've learned that Timothy is not easily moved, whether it's good or bad. He is pretty much even keel no matter the circumstance, which is a good thing because I'm definitely not that way. If it's bad, I'm feeling it, and if it's good, I'm feeling it. And Tim is like, you can't budge him. He's where he is. I think that's like a good thing for the business. I also learned that you kind of need to be inspired. I think because you're so smart, money and things like that don't motivate you. It's like, this has to matter to me on another level for me to do it. There has to be a real, like, a why for you.
I like those. Actually, let me piggyback off that first one. I learned.
Let me fill my hand.
No, but honestly, I learned a lot about Kim. I think initially, when Kim told me that she wants to be an entrepreneur, she was, very excited. I thought like she had like everything together. She's kind of like everything that I'm not. She is a go-getter. She's like type A, and she's just, she's relentless, like she says. But I feel like as determined and as, powerful she is, it's like it is one of my jobs to support her in every way that I can. So like me being even keel is almost to make sure that, she's not getting overwhelmed, that, she always has a loving, solid support and foundation to come back to when, she might be feeling like she's getting criticized, left and right, or the business is not doing well. So she's kind of taking that personally. That's kind of one of my most important roles is to love and support my wife, through her journey. And so that's basically, how I kind of developed my entrepreneur skills was like, let me make sure that I'm doing everything that Kim needs me to do in order for her to be successful. And I just kind of fell into that, and that's kind of my lane right now.
Man, you guys are the urban love story. I mean, in Woodlawn, who would have ever thought in Woodlawn, this urban love story, multi-million-dollar baby-making family would be so transparent, man. I'm listening to two of you all because, again, we can Google, do all this research. I didn't really want to jump too much in Shark Tank and all that other stuff because at the core that you are people with a strong spirit and strong passion and love for one another. And I think that that's so important. That we don't see enough of that publicized in culture. And if it is, it's normally around money, or it's normally around something very, very negative. And not saying money is negative, but there is a connection that you guys have. Well, so you're climbing the ladder. You have a successful business. Your company is family oriented. You get a chance to travel and lecture. How do you maintain a strong family life with this new person that just entered into this world? And what do you do to do that?
We spend a lot of time together as a family. I mean, today Timothy worked from home and the baby played and watched Sesame Street and climbed all over us while he worked. That's a typical day for the two of us. And our weekends are always family. Tim has, you have like family. We just had a 60th birthday party for your mom. It was like 60 to 80 people in our house. Our house is not that big.
Yeah, our families are huge. But we spend almost all of our time together. So, and that's kind of been the trend since me and Kim got together. Like even before we realized it, like we were best friends from the very beginning. So I enjoy spending my time with my wife. She's my person, right? And having our son here with us is just like, sugar on top, right? It's a bonus.
When he's behaving.
Yeah, I saw him on the Chicago interview where the producer had to hold him down. I love that boy energy. Like, listen, I'm trying to get on TV too.
Oh, he was, you know what it was? It was so many lights and cameras. He wanted to run and touch everything. Oh, and he does not like to be restricted. Yeah. So he was like upset.
Well, you all are a great example of a family working business together, keeping family first. You're a great example for any person to follow, regardless of race, culture, gender, or class, or religion. And so to hear that is just amazing. How can people follow you online, and where can they get more information on your products?
Well, they should definitely check us out at CurlMix.com. And if you want to follow Cynthia and I personally, you can follow us on Kim and Tim Lewis on Instagram. Oh, and we are actually pregnant now. We are due
Baby number 2.
Oh man,
you 4 months.
Whoa, you all got some. You talking about some time hanging out together? You all are getting it in. That's what I'm talking about. We need some more smart people on this planet, right? That's gonna bring some more wealth. So thank you for procreating in the city that I love, Chicago. So keep it going, Tim. So this is my favorite part of the show. I just added this just for you all. Before we get to the super bomb questions, I want to throw out a couple of quotes. These are entrepreneur couple quotes, and I want you to then tell me your own quote, and you can just make it up as you go. I'm gonna read a couple of them. The reason good men are hard to find is because they're usually busy working with their wives. We may not have it all together, but together we have it all. Be a boss, marry a boss, build an empire. Me and her, we are a team. Watch us build an empire together. All right, now I want you guys to tell me off the top of the head, I want you to give me a couple entrepreneurship quote. What you got?
Tim's the wordsmith in our family. I'm not even gonna try. I'm like, that's just not my lane.
There's so much pressure.
So much pressure.
I mean, all of those are so good.
Come on, Tim. All these books you be reading, I know.
I don't know. I feel like every great business is built on trust.
There we go. That's a good one. I like that. I like that.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing that's really, really kept us going. Is like, and even since last year, we've kind of separated out the business. We just kind of cut it in half. Where I run the operations and Kim runs just about everything else. And you know, on a regular day, like she has no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what she's doing. But it all works because we trust each other, you know, unconditionally.
I like how you say she don't know what you're doing, you know what you're doing, but y'all doing something because you got another baby on the way, brothers. So since we're having some fun, I want to keep going with the super bomb questions. This is my favorite part of the show. I'm going to throw out the question. You got to respond quickly. I don't want you to give it a whole bunch of thought. You can decide who wants to jump in when I say the question or when I say the statement. All right, so you ready? 3, 2, 1. Here we go. What's your favorite word?
Relentless.
What's your superpower?
Trust.
What's your animal spirit or spirit animal?
A lion.
If you were in the Miss America or Mr. America talent competition, what would your talent be?
Trivia.
What book or books have you given most as a gift and why?
Influence by Robert Cialdini.
Wow. Because basically that taught us how to sell. I think, you know, when, as many entrepreneurs, many of us don't like selling, but at the end of the, and then you don't really learn it in school, but at the end of the day, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you can't be one if you don't know how to sell. And the book teaches you about
how people work.
Yeah, how to influence people with 6 main principles. And so we applied those principles to our website. When we relaunched CurlMix, we applied it to like our business, our offers, everything. And it just teaches you how the basic principles of selling.
So what's next for CurlMix?
This year, we want to 10x what we did last year. It's kind of unprecedented for a company like ours to grow at the rate we've been growing. We want to keep it that way. So, of course, we've been able to secure a seed round of venture capital, led by the CEO of LinkedIn and his business partners. And so we were able to raise over $1 million. Like I think it's 1.4.
Yeah, 1.4 million total.
And that
was right around. It was just before Shark Tank. We raised about 200,000 And then after the show aired, we raised another $1.2 million. So.
And we want to use that to take us to the next level as a beauty company. So we hope to 10x this year, and we'll be well on our way towards that $1 billion valuation soon.
I want to ask you one final question. What were some of your early pitfalls that you can share with people now looking back? Because again, you're running this huge business. Both of you guys, what were some of the early pitfalls and some lessons that you learned that you may want to share with people so they don't have to do those same things?
Yeah, not every idea makes a good business. Like if you're not solving a problem and there aren't people willing to pay you for it, then you don't really have a business. So, choosing the right thing, choosing the right market, choosing the right customer to serve will set you up a whole lot better than, kind of just trying to figure stuff out on your own. Like really try to find a problem and a consumer to serve.
And then having a business model, I think before we started like a social network for natural hair, just thinking like, this would be a place for people to gather and share their thoughts, and we could be a forum, we could help, we could teach people.
Of course we'll be rich.
Right, of course we'll make money.
Right.
And we didn't realize until about a year in we had to start advertising to make money, and then we were like, well, we can't compete with Facebook and Instagram. Like, there's no way people are going to pay for advertising where it would be a significant amount. You know what I mean? Then I was like, we did this all wrong. So basically not having a business model, not validating your idea, not solving a real problem. Like, no, not a so what we call it a vitamin versus a painkiller. Our do-it-yourself boxes were a vitamin. They were nice to have, but our gel is a painkiller. It's a pain for them to have to make it on their own because that's the only way to get it at the time is to do it yourself. It gave them this wash and go look that they really, really wanted, and it made them feel beautiful. It's painful when you don't feel beautiful. So we really took that to heart. So those few tips is what I would give to someone starting out.
I love that. Thank you all for joining me in the Bomb Shelter. You've been listening to Kim and Tim Lewis, the owners of CurlMix. I also want to thank my producer, Michael Harrison, and Supremacy for our theme music, and for all of you for listening. And as always, believe that something wonderful is about to happen and that some people miss the message because they're too busy looking for the mess. Thanks for tuning in, and do something for someone other than yourself today. You've been listening to Sound Bombing.